We respectfully request the Sangha great virtue for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Listen the wonderful Dharma will to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Hướng đến đại đức tặng thinh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhớ thiết chúng sanh. Tình chuyên diệu pháp luân giáo đạo hạ môn, như há liêu sanh thoát ly khổ đạo là thất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đàn Thù Sư Chế Đô Ye ở La Hơ Đi San Miao San Phụ Tô Xế. Nam mô Tạc Đạc Tha Tô Già Đà Già La Hà Đế Tham Miệu Tam Mô Đà Thoáng. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I am able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng sheng wei miao fa bai qian wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jian wen de shou chi yuan jie ru lai zhe shi yi. All Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Great Master Ching Liang, Great Master YongHua, all good monks and nuns, and all good known advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上智士，弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Thanh Lương Đại sư và Thượng Tiến Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện sư thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 12th of January 2024, and thank you all for joining us at this discussion of the prologue to the Avatamsaka Sutra. We are on slide 689. No, that's a little bit further than that. I think we're done with it, weren't we? Okay. Were we done? Non-human liberation. 9 ways and Karang Yikam, true Buddha, whatever. Okay, that's it doesn't matter. We're done. We're on slide 696, 97. All right. Text. Therefore, the doctrines in the stores, connective, separate, and perfect, are found in all four teachings.
故藏通别圆之意，四教互有。
All right, the commentary slide 698. We are towards the end of the Master Ching Liang discussion of the 4 types of teachings, classifications of the Buddha's Buddha Dharma. And so this is discussing how they would, the ancient sages and Dharma masters would choose to classify the Buddha's teachings into 4 groups. And this group here we've been discussing the last month or so is the one that is among which is very famous, Master Chucho of the Tiantai school. So this is a very significant group because it's heavily used still today. And so they divided the Buddha Dharma into 4 types: the stores or agama teaching, connective or Vaipulya teaching, separate teaching is Vasha teaching or Prajna teaching, which is basically for enlightened people, enlightenment, bodhisattvas. And perfect teaching is about the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is, what's the difference between perfect and separate? Anyone remembers? Perfect here refers to high-level bodhisattvas, more like 10th ground and above. So this is very, very advanced teachings. And so this Avatamsaka Sutra here for us to be able to listen to it, to even to just the text itself, let alone the discussions, is an incredible opportunity. Okay? So here, this is the conclusion of Master Chucho's, Master Ching Liang's viewpoint about Master Chucho's classification. He says the 4 teachings that Master Chucho and his peers advocated in classifying the Buddha's teaching. He says that they're all interconnected, and yet each one of them, because each one of them has some aspects of the other 3 teachings, but so they all connected, they all interrelated, but each one has its own characteristics. For example, the stores is basically to teach the Hinayana people so that they can reach sagehood, they can reach arhatship or pratyeka Buddha. Connective teaching is a transition for the people who need to be prepared to go into bodhisattva path. Okay, so he says so each has its own characteristics, but they have connections to all the other 3. And therefore, it is fair, in Master Ching Liang's opinion, to classify them this way and call them this way. He approves. Okay? 699. Yet, if one considers the isolated truth, it doesn't amount to the other 3 and only amounts to the doctrines in that very teaching.
而合其定时，余三不成，唯成当教中义耳。
All right. So therefore, continuing with that thought, he says, although they're very distinctive in terms of their goals to advance the wisdom of the followers, so they're very clearly successful in those goals, but they also are connected to the other 3, the other teachings as well, and therefore they should be considered to be distinctly separate. All right. And so this is kind of nice for us to see in Mahayana. We have a nice survey of the entire teachings, its purport. What did the Buddha do when he taught Buddhism when he was alive, when he came in our world. So the purpose is clearly defined by these goals of where to bring his students, his followers. Okay, and therefore we're very fortunate in that we are able to conceive an overview. And you know what makes Buddha Dharma so fascinating? Because it's a network. It's all connected. It's all have hooks into the other teachings. The entire Buddha Dharma is like a network. It's all interconnected. And yet you can divide them out into 4 different types of teachings if you wish. Okay? But never forget the fact that they all are interconnected. It's never done in separate, like, for example, the Hinayana who claims that they're it's nothing else. They mention the Bodhisattva Dharma, the Buddhas are more than an Arhat, higher than an Arhat, but they don't mention how to get there. You see? So the Pali text is incomplete in that sense, and yet the adherents to the Pali style of the Hinayana, they are very adamant about insisting that they are the real deal. Okay, but actually here Master Ching Liang says, actually it's a much bigger picture than that. It's all a part of this puzzle that the Buddha put together. So Buddhism is very, very intellectually stimulating. It's all connected. Okay, so your mind can grow, your knowledge can grow and grow and grow and grow. Okay, it continues to grow. It doesn't stop. 701. He only determined the flower adornment as belonging to the perfect and separate, since by contrast with those already above the grounds, those sojourning in positions and successive gradations have the meaning of the separate.
但判华严兼于缘别，以就登地以上，曰既为行部，为别义故。
Okay, and this is a survey, and he says, this is what's so fascinating, so remarkable, so profound with the Flower Adornment Sutra teachings, is that it belongs to both the perfect and the separate. Okay, so it primarily the perfect teaching. This is the highest level of teaching in Buddhism there is. Okay, but it also has links, very, very strong connections with the separate teaching as well. How? Because first of all, it's perfect teaching, separate teaching, therefore it means it's not for low-level people. Low-level people meaning arhats and enlightened to conditions, or solitarily enlightened practitioners. They have wisdom, but it's not enough. They don't have enough blessings to be able to hear this particular Flower Adornment Sutra teachings. Okay? They never had these types of teachings in blessings in order to listen to it, to encounter it, to see it, unlike us. Okay? We may not be very high level, but we all have tremendous blessings in order to keep on hearing this week after week after week. Okay? It takes tremendous blessings. Most Buddhist disciples don't have this, and we should be very grateful to Master YongHua for this gift he gave us, okay? Because we're way beyond the 2 vehicles, okay? We planted seeds of blessings that's way beyond the 2 vehicles. So don't sell yourself short. You have tremendous blessings, okay? Profound blessings. And And so the saying in Buddhism is that they have eyes but could not hear, could not see Nishana Buddha, and they have ears would not hear the perfect certain teaching. He is referring to is those two vehicles that they may have intact sense organs, have the wisdom of the sages, of the small enlightenment, but they could not see Nishyanda Buddha. Nishyanda Buddha is the reward body Buddha that taught the Flower Adornment Sutra. So they're not allowed to see the Nishyanda Buddha. Okay, they have ears. Okay, but they are not entitled to hear the Avatamsaka teaching, which is perfect and also certain teaching. All right? And so it's kind of derogative, but it's very, very factual. 703. And now he goes into the salient characteristics of the Flower Adornment Sutra teaching. Okay, again, this teaching here is for the Mahasattvas, not just the Mahasattvas, but the great Mahasattvas, above the level of the 10 grounds. That's how high they are. Okay, whereas below them, there are bodhisattvas who are sojourning in positions, who have not yet reached the level of equal enlightenment. What he's referring to here is that in chapter 39, we learn about this later, hopefully, if we have time. In chapter 39, it's called the chapter of entering the Dharma realm. It's a tremendously wonderful chapter where it talks about Bodhisattva good wealth, and he's a young boy, and he became committed to becoming a Buddha, to cultivate, and he met with 52 teachers who. So he met the first one, Manjusri Bodhisattva, who referred him to the other 51 teachers. Okay, and in doing so, Bodhisattva good wealth. Okay, the pure youth good wealth, meaning pure youth means that he started cultivation while he was still pure. He never lost his purity, and therefore these people are very special. They will accomplish their practices much faster than we do. We are not the same as they are. Okay, and so as he journeys through his travel, he going from one good advisor who would teach him how or what they do, the particular Dharma door. He achieved it, he accomplished it, and then they would then refer him to the next one, next good advisor. Okay, so you see, the concept here again is a network. They know each other. They all know each other. They all are connected. So that's why that's the nature of Buddhist cultivation. All the good advisors, the great ones, they know each other. It's part of this network of great teachers who are dedicated to teach us and help us become Buddhas. Just a fantastic news, statement of the facts. This is how we function in Buddhism. These great teachers are waiting, guiding us to go through our cultivation. So that's exemplified by pure youth, good wealth. And so as he went through these good advisors, so he reached this thing called sojourning in positions. That's what it's referring to. All right? Just an introduction for you. Okay, so though they're lower level in equal enlightenment. Furthermore, he's also talking about below the grounds. There's also successive gradation. Okay, it's referring to in Buddhism. We're very hierarchical. We are very precise in our stature, in our status in the world. Okay? Meaning that when, from the first moment that you bring forth the Bodhi mind until you become a Buddha, you are to have to travel through these successive gradations of statuses. Okay? Just like you, for example, you have different statuses based on your what? What? You don't know? Based on your no one knows? Based on your family titles. You Duke, you Duchess, you are King, you are Crown Prince, and so forth. Remember? And the rest of you, basically you are not, therefore you are basically slaves. No? Isn't that great news? Or if you are in India, there's still a notion of caste, where you are untouchable, or you are merchant class, or you are Kshatriyas, or ruling class, or you're Brahmin class. Okay? So those are the hierarchy of classes. In Buddhism too, we have it. We recognize your status, your social status. Your Buddhist social status is based on your samadhis. Okay? And those samadhis actually are clearly defined also in the forms of successive gradations. Meaning that you go through the successive practices, these positions, they actually are another form of looking, another way of looking at the ladder in the hierarchy in Mahayana. Okay? What are the successive gradations? They are delineated in the Flower Adornment Sutra. In Chan school, we have first dhyana, second dhyana, and so forth. In Chan school, actually, you have what? What are the successive gradations? Xingbu. What's that? Anyone knows? Oh, these are such important knowledge. You only want to aspire to be president of the Republic of Kamchatka, but you never wish to go through, aspire to reach these levels. And we want to be Shen Yun, we want to be Fa Lun Gong, we want to be Chai Chi, High Master, and so forth. Whereas Mahayana, we aspire to be these successive gradations. So we are recognized in the Mahayana world because we belong to the successive gradations. What are they? Number one, from the moment now you brought forth the Bodhi mind, for everyone now, it's not just anyone in particular, for everyone has to go through this. Good wealth has to go through this as well. So you have to go through groups in the Flower Adornment Sutra. What are those groups? The first 10 are the 10 faiths. Next 10 are the 10 10 what? Huh? Huh? Okay. So first are the 10 faiths. Okay. Next are the 10 dwellings. Next are the 10 practices. Next are the 10 transferences. Next are the 10 grounds. The grounds are the enlightened people. Below that, they're not. These are big deals. And above that, there are 2 more. Okay? So those are called successive gradations. So in Buddhism, we are recognized accordingly. This is our social status, folks. See, the people of the world, they don't know. They look at us, for example, as beggars or engineers or minister or queen and so forth. But in Buddhism, in Mahayana, we have these ladders, these hierarchies, where you say, oh, you are 8th faith. Oh, you are 10th ground, and so forth. Okay? And these are undeniable. Once you have these, no one can take it from you. Yeah, these are your wealth, your achievements. All right? Does it help? So it's a big deal in Mahayana. We recognize we all have social classes. We have hierarchies in our Avatamsaka world. Yes, too.
Thank you, Master. Do these different levels from the 10 faiths to the 10 grounds correspond to the different chapters of the travel from good wealth, pure wealth?
Good wealth have to travel through them.
The 50 chapters correspond to these levels.
Yeah, 10 dwellings, 10 practices, 10 transferences, 10 grounds, equal enlightenment, and wonderful enlightenment.
Thank you, Master.
Okay, so this is only described in the Avatamsaka Sutra in great details. And this is why this is the sutra for Mahasattvas. That's when Buddha says, I need to teach you everything. I'm not holding back anymore. Before, you may have your own narrow path to get up there, but now I want you to have an overview of the structure of the universe. All right? Yeah, cool. So these are the real deals. It's not worldly titles and recognition and measurements. These actually are your achievements. And once you get there, okay, it's yours. You could lose your Senate seat. You could lose your cabinet member position, but once you reach these positions, these successive stages, gradations, it's your attainment forever, and you get better and better and better. This is your journey through the timeline and towards Buddhahood. Questions and comments? So we're learning this in the Flower Adornment Sutra. Okay? And so in the Flower Adornment Sutra, it mentions about the sojourning in position and successive gradation. That is the separate teaching. Okay? And so basically it tells you about these different teachings and how you can get to those positions. All right? It's fantastic. This is why after you learn about this and say, so what's the big deal? You're the president of the Soviet Union or whatever. It's worldly things. It doesn't mean much in the real hierarchy of the universe. You still have to bow down to a lowly, pure youth, good wealth, if you knew better. All right, 704. The names are different, but the meanings are the same, and there is no great error.
名义异同，亦无大过。
So this is final approval from Master Jingliang. He says all these classifications of these Dharma masters, you may use different names. And now in our time, we prefer to use Master Chucha's labeling of the store and the connective teaching, and then the separate teaching and the perfect teaching, so forth. All the Dharma masters may use different names, but it's the same. It's the same approach, the same thinking. Okay, and therefore he approves of these type of classification. So it's nice that we're able to learn about this, because this is generally quite popular form of classifying the Buddha's teachings. All right, 706. 3. Dharma Master Yuan Xiao of Haidong, at the beginning of the Tang, who also established 4 teachings.
3. 唐初海东元晓法师，义立四教。
Okay, 707. Now the third group of Dharma masters who advocated 4 different classifications for the Buddha Dharma is Dharma Master Yuan Xiao. At the beginning of the Tang period, Tang dynasty, Haidong is Korea. Okay, and so this is like a nice survey for you to see that many Dharma masters have the similar kind of thinking, that it's easier to categorize and classify the Buddhist teaching to make it more manageable for us to study. Yes, YouTube.
Thank you, Master. We have a YouTube question from Vicky. First, I'd like to thank our YouTube audience for joining us this evening. If you find this lecture helpful, consider liking and subscribing. Vicky says, "Hello, Master. Are we far too low status to start work on this series of gradations?"
To start what?
To start work on this series of gradations.
No, it's for everyone. Our training program is to help you, push you up through to all these positions. So it's no low or high. It's about the Dharma master, about the monk, about the teacher, on what he wants to do with his disciples. Okay, so I'm picking it up from Master YongHua, who taught my generation, and then I said, that's pretty good. And I saw the teachings of how far his disciples would get. So I said, I will have to, if I wanted to go higher, I have to add more to that. Okay, so each master has a different goal. Mine is to bring you to way high up there, way beyond these positions. All right? So yes, it's not low or high. Everyone is being prepared for that. Everyone is being helped to progress through these successive gradations or stages. Right? Or leap through these stages, depending on your individual circumstances. Okay, so Hai Tong here is Korea. So this is a Korean Sunim. He came to China to study. The Koreans are very, very open-minded. They are still today. They go all over the world to learn from everywhere. They keep on searching, but unfortunately, unlike the Chinese, the Korean, they are in the culture. They know they're supposed to go look for a teacher, but they don't know how to look for a teacher because in the system they don't have the patriarchy system, and therefore they have no clues on how to look for it. Okay, and so he came to China. He's one of the many Sunims who came to China to study. And he learned about the Tiantai patriarchs and the Xianshou patriarchs. Learned from them. Okay. And so after that, he came back and he advocated the 4 teachings, classification of the Buddha, Dharma, into 4 types of teachings. And so this is what these teachings are. 1, the separate teaching of the 3 vehicles, such as the sutras on the 4 truths, arising from conditions, and so forth.
1. 三圣别教，如四谛、缘起经等。
And so his 4 types of classifications are, number 1, separate teaching of 3 vehicles. So see, he had the 3 vehicles, refers to the sound hearers, those enlightened conditions, and the bodhisattvas. And the arising from conditions are the 12 links of conditioned co-production. Okay, so basically, he sees 4 different types of classifications, and he looks at them slightly differently. And we should go through it because, for the sake of being grateful to Master Ching Yang, to put in the time to do this, even though his Korean approach to classification is no longer widely used by the Chinese. Okay, there's something about Korean with China that's, but he said the 1 is separate teaching of 3 vehicles. 2, the connective teaching of the 3 vehicles, such as the Nirvana and Deep Secret Sutra, and so forth.
2. 三圣通教，如般若、深密经等。
Okay, so next is the connective teachings that he says he would represent. He could select a few sutras to justify his position, Nirvana and Deep Secret Sutra, and so forth. 3, the teaching of the 1 vehicle in suitable portions, such as the Brahmanet Sutra, and so forth.
3. 依圣分教，如梵网经等。
And so bodhisattvas, his 3rd group is a bodhisattva, but only part of it. That's how he sees it. So it tells you that this master is scholarly. He's very erudite, but his skills, his samadhi level is not quite there yet. That's why he misses out on part of the bodhisattva teachings. 4, the whole teaching of the 1 vehicle, such as the Flower Adornment Sutra, and so forth.
4. 依圣满教，如华严经等。
7:15. So the 4th type of teaching is the 1 vehicle. So don't worry about the names and so forth. And now he quotes the Flower Adornment Sutra. And the concept here for you to know, a jargon for you to be exposed to is called whole word teaching, as opposed to half word teaching. And this is often used in Mahayana. Hinayana is considered half word teaching. Okay, it's not complete teaching. So it's like you teach half of a word. Okay, and therefore it's not complete. The meaning is not complete yet. Whole word teaching has everything, and that refers to the Dharma Flower Sutra and the Flower Adornment Sutra. Right? 716. Moreover, what is studied in common by the three vehicles, he called the teaching of the three vehicles. Within it, what has not yet revealed the emptiness, the Dharma, he called the separate teaching of marks.
然三圣共学，名三圣教，于中谓名法空，名别相教。
Okay, and so 717, so commentary, and so he's also brought up the concept of emptiness of the people and emptiness of the Dharma. Okay, and so he used that as delineation for different types of teachings. And so that tells you right there that his skill level, his samadhi, his wisdom is not that high enough so that he still chose the cut off lines a little bit off. Okay. 718, what talks about the emptiness of all dharmas, he made the connective teaching.
说诸法空，是为通教。
Okay. And commentary slide 719. And then you have to talk about the emptiness of the dharmas that he calls a connective teaching. Okay, and so he has his reasons, but it's not that clean in terms of training the next generations. Okay, people might be wondering about what is the emptiness of the people, emptiness of the Dharma. Are you curious? There's an important concept. This is why I brought it out for your reference. It's not that important whose names and whatever, or how they're classified, but these concepts are important for your practices, for your development. So here we're discussing emptiness of the people and emptiness of the dharmas. What is this referring to? Very important. This transcends classifications. This is the Buddha's teaching. Classification is classifications. But we still go back to the Buddha's teaching. What's his intent? What it's about? Why it's important for us to know? Anyone? So you see, I'm merely pointing out to you that you could be using a lot of words, but it does not transcend. It cannot go beyond these important differentiation to measure your status, to measure your achievements, to measure your wisdom or your samadhi. No one knows? No one wants to try? You've been learning so much from me, and I thought you know everything already. I had to teach. Now, tonight, no one wants to talk about it. Okay, let me explain to you. When you first start bringing forth the Bodhi mind, you're full of yourself. Okay? And your ego as big as Mount Sumeru. And so you go through this training, whether it's chant, whether it's Vinaya, whether it's listening, lecturing to you, and so forth, or reciting mantras to help you, and so forth. It is all designed to squash your ego. And when your ego is crushed, that's when you realize the emptiness of the people. Okay? Meaning that there's no egos, there's no I left. And that is called wisdom. As long as you operate with an I, with an ego behind that, if you operate with an ego that is behind your actions, then you're in a state of confusion. But when your karma, the karma you create are free from the ego, then it's good karmas. All right? And so that's why the first stage of Buddhist Mahayana wisdom is the emptiness of the people, meaning that you have no more ego. That's why we recognize that position as sagehood. Below that, we don't consider it to be sagehood because you're still in ego. You're still, the wisdom is too limited. Wisdom is incomplete. You're undependable. Meaning that I would not marry you. To put it bluntly. Okay? Because I know I cannot depend on you. It's best to stay boyfriend and girlfriend. Or girlfriend and girlfriend. Or boyfriend and boyfriend. Whatever your preferences are. There are 24 different classifications. We don't have enough time. Go through them all, okay? But the point here is that it's okay, whether you call yourself husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, and it, and so forth. It doesn't matter. All right? I would not marry you, now that I know about this. Okay? Because you're finding love in a place where you cannot find love. Because that love that you have, I'm sorry to put it this way for you. I hope you will awaken to this. But it doesn't sound like you ever will. That if there's still an ego, that person is undependable. You depend on that person, you're asking for trouble. Eventually, naturally. Okay? So see why it's called wisdom now? Because when you're wisdom, that's when you become dependable. We depend on wisdom. When you have no wisdom, you are not supposed to be trusted. All right? So do not blame your husband. Okay? You chose to marry him, knowing full well he still has an ego. All right? It's not his fault. It's your fault. And you should all be looking down and be ashamed of yourself. Who asked you? Your parents made a mistake and they regret it with their entire lives. And you're doing the same thing right now. Yes, Wei Mao.
Master, thank you, Master. If this is not Dharma
Anytime.
Glimpse content, if this is not Dharma Glimpse content, I don't know what is.
The truth can hurt, yes. I'm
Master,
learning to be more polite. I could have used different words. Yeah, you are so... yeah?
Master, can I ask, why is it that when an ego is involved, when egos are involved in a relationship, inevitably there's big problems?
Because the ego is wishy-washy. Look at yourself. Yesterday you like Del Taco. Today you prefer Burger King. You see that? The ego is not consistent. It changes its mind constantly. Okay? And that's why people fall in love, and ego also falls out of love. You know? They said, you know, yeah, don't look to your left. Okay? So, and this is mistake of worldly people. How does it apply to your life? It has implications, folks. The person you marry next to you, look at that. Okay. Is not the same person a month later. You both evolve. And yet, ordinary people look at their partner as the same person. Because you're fools. There's no other way to put it. You just say, oh, you're the same person I knew 20 years ago. Not. I still love the same person. You're lying. Okay? So that's typical your ego. It says, I love you, but then not. And so you need to know that, because then you are always on your toes. You don't take your wife for granted, because she can change her mind, and so can you. Isn't that cool? See, it's funny, the Catholics and the other religions thought of it something as if, you know, that is a wonderful thing, love and happiness and so forth. But no one tells you that you are totally undependable. Okay? And God knows it. God knows that. That's why they force you to give Him 10% of your salary without deliberation. You know, you can't back out. You can't change your mind. We need to do the same thing, because now He's right. You are undependable. All right? So that's why the implication is that you may love someone, may like someone, but you need to understand that you need to continue to earn that love, that like, day after day after day, and you cannot afford to take your loved ones for granted. That's Buddhist wisdom. You're not impressed. You don't want to hear the truth. And what is it? They say, I love you is forever, and then your wife serves you notice for divorce. Okay? Is that clear? So it's so important. Again, because we have a new member here, we need to remind him that if your wife still has an ego, she is not to depend on. If you depend on her, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for it. Is that clear? So whether you call yourself husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, same thing. You cannot depend on people who has not emptied their ego. That's the emptiness of people. So far, so good? Okay. So that's the wisdom of an arhat or practical Buddha, because they realize that they're free soul from so many attachments, that they have wisdom, that they are dependable. Okay? And they're so happy. In the midst of chaos, of afflictions, they can be unperturbed in bliss. It's a nice thing. It's not just a wishful thinking. Actually, a state of happiness. Okay? No matter what, they're still happy. They're still blissful. It's kind of cool. Okay? Therein lies the weakness. Those people are dependable, okay? But they're limited from a teacher perspective, because this is what happens to them. This is so typical of these people. Before that, you're so afflicted. Okay? You're so afflicted, you're out of control. You're way out of control. Okay? When you reach a level, the most significant milestone for Mahayana is the emptiness of the ego, the emptiness of the people. Okay? That's when you're rid of the ego, and that's when you understand bliss, real happiness, if you will. Okay? And it's so nice. Let me tell you, it's very, very nice. Because of that, when you reach that state of bliss, and you look back and say, wow, I didn't realize I was so unhappy, and I blame it on my wife. It's not my wife's fault, it's my fault. Now I realize it, I'm at fault. It's not my wife's fault, it's my boyfriend's fault. It's my fault. Okay? And so they're so blissful that they said, I am not going back there. So because he said, why should I go back to this? This is so typical. That's how we wired of us. Okay? So he said, I'm so blissful. I'm so happy. Why should I go back to my wife? Why should I worry about my children? Why should I worry about my parents? It's suffering. It's not much I can do for them because they're suffering. Whatever I do, they still suffer. Is that clear? That's wisdom right there, because they realize that these people, the others below them, have not emptied their ego. Therefore, no matter what you do for them, you buy them Birkin bag, $10,000 a piece. Yung, did you do that for your wife? No wonder she's unhappy. But you buy one, they're happy for how long? 5 years? Now it's 30,000? Oh, well, I'm glad someone is keeping track of this inflation thing here. 30,000? Where do you shop? God, I go to China's Central Market. Lots of choices. Authentic Birkin, made in China. Anyway, and so you realize that all you can do for your children, for your husband, for your wife, and so forth, is only temporary. It will not be forever. And that's what I meant by undependable. They can have fun with you for a while, and then they change their mind. They get afflicted again. Okay? And so that's why we call them, or not a new one, undependable. Okay? All right? And so that's why when you have empty yourself, you experience this bliss here, you say, wow, I'm so happy, I don't need anything. I don't need food, I don't need money, because all that is just afflictions. I'm happy within myself. So why should I go back to that? Okay? And that's why it's called attachment to the Dharma, D, capital D, Dharma, meaning that Dharma of emptiness that we help you reach. And that's why the fourth stage arhats or pratyeka Buddhas are known to have emptied the ego, but have not emptied the Dharma. Because they still see the bliss here is so nice. Okay? And therefore, I should stay here. I'm not going back there. Because that would be not wise to go back to the toilet. Go back to suffering. If I have wisdom, why should I? Okay? So that's why they're attached to the Dharma of emptiness, the Dharma of bliss. And that's why they're stuck there forever. The Bodhisattvas, like many of you who have reached fourth stage arhats, have been prepared to go beyond, because you've been taught that once you get there, you emptied the self, okay? But you have not emptied the Dharma. It's very easy to attach to that bliss, remember? It is so nice. Much better than anything in this world. Anything and everything in this world pales in comparison. And that's why you realize that realization is the Dharma of liberation. And that's why you're stuck on that. You say, wow, this is it. I'm staying here. I'm not going back to Ohio. Okay? So that's why we have to prepare you, and you've been prepared already. Okay? And so when you get there, you will not be stuck, even though you have not realized the emptiness of the Dharmas as well. Is that clear? It's a very important distinction. That's why you have to understand these concepts. Emptiness of the people, and emptiness of the ego, and emptiness of the Dharma. The Dharma is your knowledge. So therein lies this concept here. I need to interpret for you. What you know can stop you. Can be harmful to you. Can be a hindrance to your progress, your emancipation, can be a hindrance, obstruction to your getting more bliss, getting much greater benefits. Okay? All right. Mahayana will take care of these things. You don't have to worry about it. This is why it's important for you to understand these concepts. It will be clearer as you progress through your journey towards Bodhisattvahood and Mahasattvahood and Buddhahood. Wei Mao Tong.
Hi, Master. I'd like to clarify about this Korean monk. Venerable Shenpa provides some information about this monk. He actually never went to China. Also, in addition to Venerable Shenpa's information, I try to look for a little bit more. He tried to go to China twice to learn more Buddha Dharma, but he wasn't able to. But during that process, one night he ended up in a cave with another famous, well-known monk. At the time,
What kind of
this is
monk?
about
Korean or Chinese monk?
2 Korean monks are attempt to go to China to learn more Buddha Dharma.
Okay.
And then one of them is the one who just mentioned about Korean monk. And then one actually went to China and learned more about Chinese Buddhism.
Yes.
But the one who couldn't make it,
He's
he's
the one who advocated his teachings?
Yes.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I heard of that story. I didn't know their Korean names. The
So
Korean
his
names.
name is YongHua. And then what happened was he wrote a book, and then that book was known in China. So that's how the Chinese learn about his teaching and his theory, and it influenced a lot of Chinese at the time. It's about like year 600. Thank you.
So, and the Chinese stole it, and they claim that it's his knowledge came from China, according to Xianfa. And therefore, Xianfa is saying that Master Jinliang is wrong. Yeah? Xianfa, we
Basically-
have a talk later. It doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, my sincere apologies to you, historians and so forth. I'm not into history, and I'm more interested in sharing with you these concepts, and whether he went to China or not, it's not that important. The point is that all these teachings, they survive because they're useful to us. Okay? If you're not useful, then it's not worth preserving you. Okay? And so it really, actually, his book is really inconsequential to Chinese Mahayana, not because he's Korean, but because he's not, doesn't have staying power, is not useful in the propagation of the Dharma. All right, 7:20. But feel free to add the information. It's great that we all are contributing to the Dharma here. That which is not common to the 2 vehicles is called the teaching of the 1 vehicle. Within it, what has not yet revealed the Dharma of universality is called the teaching in suitable portions.
不共2圣，名一圣教；于中未显普法，名随分教。
Yeah, so clearly this is very scholarly. Instead, if you divide it this way, it doesn't really, it's not that helpful to train people. Okay. Anyway, it's not that useful in molding people's mind, because this is not how your obstructions are resolved. Okay? Anyway, this is my personal opinion, but what do I know? Which are common to the 2 vehicles, the sound hearers, okay, these concepts, 2 vehicles are Hinayana, okay? Just know about these things in general so that you can tell the difference between the teacher, what they're referring to. The teacher, when they explain to you, and this will happen to you. You go to a temple or you tune on a YouTube, and the teacher starts talking about about the Dharma, and you can give you a reference as to what Dharma he's talking about. Okay? Is he teaching the store teaching, meaning he refers to the Four Noble Truths and so forth? Is he talking about Vajra or Prajna, and that refers to separate teaching? So you see so that you know what to expect. Okay, and therefore you can tell what he's trying to train, what he's trying to help you with. Okay, so that you don't waste time. That's all. That's what my primary concern is, that you will listen to other teachers, and then when they talk to you, and they will refer to especially the scholarly Dharma masters will cite certain sutras and so forth, and you see that what type of teaching it is, and whether it's worth your while to do that, whether it's useful to you. Okay, and so he's called the teaching of the one vehicle of the Bodhisattva. Okay. The name is weird. One vehicle is not how I'm used to thinking. Okay, the Dharma realm is one vehicle, but the Bodhisattva doesn't understand the Dharma realm yet. So how can you call it one vehicle? This is why I don't take these things very seriously, because it's not consistent with the Buddha's intent. It may be appealing intellectually, but it's not how you organize your wisdom, and you organize the acquisition of wisdom. Okay? That's not how you train people. Within what? In those, the sutra, he has not revealed the perfect and complete sutras. Okay? That's why he called it suitable portions. Okay? So it's a lot of words. So he likes to take slap the ghost. You don't worry about the boy. You slap the ghost. We need to train the ghosts as well. Yes, Chinese person.
Master, who should slap the ghost? Just
anyone can slap the ghost. I don't care. You feel like it, slap and see if it works. Or you can kick the ghost. I usually like to slap with my right hand. I save my left hand for the demons. 722. That which completely clarifies the Dharma of universality, he called the perfect whole teaching.
具名普法，名圆满教。
You see his wording, his classification is okay, but the wording is slightly off. Maybe his translation from Korean to Chinese, we don't know. But for him to say universality, Dharma universality, is a little bit off. It's not universal, it's total. Total is much more comprehensive than universal. Total meaning nothing is left out. Universal is just everywhere. I'm Universal Studios. You don't call it total studios, do we? You see, I rest my case. You're all laughing, but that's exactly what it means. Okay? And so a little bit off. Okay? Yeah. You see, and this is the problem with scholars. We need to go through them for the heck of it. But don't worry if you don't remember. 724. Furthermore, this master is largely similar to Tiantai. He simply has added one vehicle in portions to the separate and perfect.
然此师大同天台，但合别圆，加一圣分耳。
很好。Okay, so commentary slide at 725. So now Master Jing Liang has been patiently going through this. Can you imagine that Master Jing Liang had to read all these monks' teachings and say, yeah, but then he has to take it seriously. Okay, unlike me, I dismiss it right away. I say, okay, I don't get it, and I don't care. But poor Master Jing Liang, this is why you need to appreciate it. Master Jing Liang read the whole thing and absorbed it and said, oh, this is what he's referring to. I'm sure he has his chart. Also, this Korean monk's teachings and disconnect to that, very much like the detective when they solve a crime. They put a name here, victim here, and they tie, in the movie they tie a string from this thing to that thing. Okay, so that's Master Jing Liang had to do, like a detective work. And he says, basically, I feel he added one vehicle in. Okay, there you go. 836. He himself, moreover, says that in basing himself upon the doors of the vehicles, he in general sets up 4 kinds, without maintaining that these 4 comprehensively include all. So it is without error.
自言且依圣门，略立4种，非为此4，遍摄一切，故无有失。
And so Master Jing Liang gave his verdict. He said it's not wrong. If you want to classify it that way, it's not wrong. His classification are clean, okay? But it's not, as I said, from my perspective, it's logical, but it's not intuitive. It's not helping in the training of the mind. Okay? Questions and comments? Okay, this is cool. Just survey. Don't try to understand. Just for the heck of it. Now after you came out after an hour and a half, you say, what did I learn today? Nothing. Okay. 4. 贤首 disciple. Master Yuan. Who? Is it Yuan or who? Venerable Yuan who, based upon the dual nature Shastra, established 4 kinds of teachings.
4. 贤首弟子愿公，依宝信论，立4种教。
Okay, so now Master Jing Liang has to patiently go through. Where are we? Okay, this gentleman Yuan, okay, who's based on some kind of shastra and so forth. And when are we going this? Okay, sorry. 7:30. The shastra says there are 4 categories of living beings who do not recognize as thus come one's treasury, like people blind from birth.
论云有4种众生，不识如来藏，如身盲人。
Okay, and so this particular Dharma master, who is the disciple of great master Xian Shou. Xian Shou is is a great classification. It's the next group of 5 different of teachings of Buddhism. And this is how the Avatamsaka Sutra is analyzed based on his approach. Okay, so Master Xian Shou disciple this particular person, Yuan something. Okay, and he says he's 4. I'm simplifying my master's teaching. Okay, only 4. I don't need 5. 1 is ordinary, common people. 2, sound hearer. 3, practical Buddhas. 4, bodhisattvas or initial resolve.
1者凡夫 二者声闻，三者辟支佛，四者初心菩萨。
Okay, and so commentary slide. The Shastra here, based on the Shastra, which so he says, based on the Shastra here of wisdom, he says there are 4 types of living beings, and this pertains to you. You have to understand. Remember, I talked to you about undependable people. Okay, so this is important knowledge. Okay, and so he says, one ordinary common people. Okay, undependable. This is all we care about. Okay? Not say unexceptional, talented. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's just undependable. Sums it all. Okay, unenlightened. Doesn't matter. Okay? Undependable. Okay? Don't depend on them. Okay. 2, sound hearers. Okay, which is now dependable. Okay. 3, practical Buddhas, more dependable. Okay, more wisdom. Okay. 4, bodhisattva and resolve. So these are early stage bodhisattvas. Okay. I'm not sure why I'm not sure in this Shastra what it refers to. Is this the people, the bodhisattvas are apparently this is sort of like high level in practical Buddhas, then they're dependable. Okay? So in this group here, all we need to know is that if there's still a self, they still see a self in them, they're so self-centered, then be careful. Okay? That's all. Don't bet on them. Okay, 733. Ancient said, fish spawn, the Udumbara Bodhisattvas of initial resolve, those 3 are many on the causal ground, but few when the fruit is ripened. It's not reaped. What happened to Google spell check? Is the fruit is reaped. Okay, that's fine, when collected. Many people bring forth the initial resolve for Bodhi, but only very few become Bodhisattvas. Okay, and so this is the fact. The fact is that most people don't make it. How come so many of you people make it? I don't get it. Okay, DTT question.
마스터 질문이 있는데요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 그 마스터 질문이 있는데요. 마스터께서 아상과 에고가 있는 한 위험하다고 하셨는데 어떻게 보면 범부보다는 아상과 에고가 남아 있는 수다원에서 아남까지가 일반 범부보다 더 위험하지 않나요?가 질문입니다.
We cannot hear 상옥수님.
You said when we have ego and then self, it's danger. But my question is that how about the first arhat, from first arhat to third arhat? They are less than fourth arhat, but I think they might be more dangerous than common people.
제가 생각할 땐 레벨이 높으면서 아상과 에고가 있는 게 더 위험하지 않는가가 제 질문이거든요. 왜냐면 일반 범부는 아상과 에고가 있는데 레벨이라도 낮잖아요.
If their level is high and they are still ego and I, then it might be more dangerous than ordinary people. Is it right?
Well, they're not as dangerous as the lower level people because they have moments of brilliance. And also the teacher can look at them and said, okay, I will help you because it's easier to help you. You get out a lot easier than the low-level people. Okay? So actually they're not more dangerous at all. In fact, in general, in Buddhism, you reach first stage Arhat, which I hope all of you lay people will. Okay? When you do that, you are a gem of the world. I humbly submit to you that we're here in Silicon Valley because I want to train as many of you first stage Arhat as possible. And you go back and you become your doctor, you become an engineer, you become a salesman. You will be a gem. You'll be gems of the world. You are destined to do great things or great damages. Okay? And so important. It's not talk. It's about you have wisdom. And you're on the way to, you're in a unstoppable path to real wisdom. Whereas below, you're totally undependable. But when you're in that range, what is meant by one first stage Arhat to third stage Arhat, meaning those who still have to study. Okay, that's the term coined for them. Those with studies. Okay, they need to study more in order to empty the people, empty the self. They need to study. Okay, for those people, they are extremely special people. They are outstanding people in my mind. I may yell at them only because I'm undependable. Yes, in the back.
Master, I have been wondering, there's this natural progression that's just automatic from the first stage Arhat to higher level Arhats. Is there something equivalent for Bodhisattvas?
What? Repeat.
Is there something equivalent for Bodhisattvas, meaning that once they got the first ground, they are on this automatic path to the higher grounds?
No, it all applies to the lows with studies, first to third stage. Okay, once you get to fourth, then you're like a special class. It's no longer you are assets. Let me put it that way, to Mahayana, to the people, to the world. Low level, 1 to 3 stage, first to third stages, you are gems, you are jewels. Okay, but when you get higher, you all become assets to the world. You're not destined. Whatever you do is tremendously wonderful, wunderbar. That's it. Whatever you do, okay, it's very beneficial. It's so cool. You don't have to look over your shoulders anymore. You say, okay, so I have wisdom, so I'm going to do whatever I do is beneficial in your ways. Okay? 734. The attachment of the 4 categories, and he's talking about here ordinary people, forget about them. Sound hearers have no attachments to a view of self, but are attached to remaining 3 views. Views of a self, others, and others, view of living beings, and view of a lifespan. All those are the views that ordinary people are attached to. they're attached to view of self, or the people, okay, of others. View of living beings, they're dogs and cats and scorpions and snakes and so forth, living beings. And number 3, a view of lifespans, okay? Expiration dates. So far, so good. So that's what ordinary people, the characteristics of their confusion, view of the self, view of living beings. They discriminate against, for example, buffaloes, okay, snakes, and so forth, or demons, and so forth, yeah? And then they worried about the lifespan, okay? They have a view of that, okay? They're frightened by it, okay? Number 2, the sound hearers, no attachment to the self, view of the self. We are attached to the 3 remaining views, okay? The 4 views, self, number 1, 2, others, 3, living beings, 4, lifespan. Is that clear? These are important concepts. Just be aware of it, okay? That's all. This is part of your wisdom. So these people who have these 4 views are undependable. No matter how rich, how powerful, how smart they are, they're undependable. Okay? Number 2, now I begin to depend on these sound hearers who have no view of the self. You see, that's wisdom. Isn't that fascinating? When you empty the ego, you have wisdom. But it's limited wisdom because you still have a view of others, okay? Because remember, I told you the story that the Arhat says, my mom is so afflicted. It doesn't matter what I do, she's still afflicted. So it's pointless. I don't need to help her. Okay? Regardless of what I do. Okay? And because of that, okay, the Arhats, the sound hearers have limited wisdom. It's their knowledge that is an obstruction to the further development, to their advanced development. So far, so good. And so Buddhism, we see that. In Mahayana, we see that. That's why we prepare you for all these obstructions. Have no fear. I just want you to hear about it. So that's why these teachings are important. So when you listen to the Dharma, you need to be able, this information, this background information will help you decide who to listen to, where to go seek for information to help further your own well-being. Is that clear? And this is very important. It's not only now in the Avatamsaka Sutra that we make it clearer to you that you have to be careful. Not all teachers are the same. Not all patriarchs are the same. All right? They all have limitations. Number 3, bodhisattvas don't attach views of self on others, but have attachment views of living beings and those with lifespans. Okay? Just for your reference. No, we're not perfect. Okay, the bodhisattvas, they got rid of the view of others. Okay, so that's why that's how they develop great compassion. See that? They said, my wife is suffering, and therefore I need. If she suffers, I'm also suffering, and therefore I need to help her. I cannot ignore it. And that's wisdom. And that's compassion. All right? It's that compassion that helps deepen the wisdom. All right? But they have attachment views of living beings, okay? Bodhisattvas are attached to saving living beings. Like Master YongHua, he says, I will save you all. Just hear my name, I vow that until the end of time, I will come and save you. He's still seeing, saving you. See that? As a view of living beings. This is why I don't play his tapes to ants and in the wild, because now they hear those being hear the names. He's going to be so busy chasing after ants and scorpions and leopards and so forth. The poor guy. The tour master. Bodhisattvas are very attached to living beings. Very, very, very attached. They have a heart like him, which I don't. Okay? And those with lifespans. Okay? Any questions? And I'm running a little bit over time, but let me finish this, then we stop here tonight. Who do not recognize the thus come one's treasury? Okay. And basically, what we know, all the world, all these people, they still, their knowledge, their wisdom, their understanding is not complete. Okay, so let's go to this. Okay, this one treasury. People, two vehicles. Of course, the low ones are confused, undependable. Okay, people, two vehicles. Attain emptiness. People are not of dharmas. Okay, remember this is very important concepts. Okay, okay. If you don't have to understand, just hear it. Okay, don't reject it. That's my message to you. All the bodhisattvas obtain both kind of emptiness of people and the Dharma. They still don't understand the principle of the middle way. That's typical of, for example, my generation. Really, because that's all the time. I'm trying to be nice here. That's all the time the Master YongHua had. I'm not going to criticize my master. Okay, it seems to offend a lot of people. Okay, so Master YongHua never spent enough time explaining the middle way. Yeah, his generation, my generation, we don't understand middle way. That's a fact. So they skewed. When you don't have the middle way, your Mahayana is skewed. All right? Just that's all. You don't believe me? Eventually you do. You realize, oh, I've been skewed all these years. Okay, so they don't understand the middle, the principle of middle way. They have some truth, they have some wisdom, but it's lopsided wisdom. More specifically, okay, they're righteous. People who have wisdom, they're attached to righteousness. It's so wrong. This is a waste. You're violating Mother Nature. They're so righteous, and that's limited. Okay? It's not middle way. How about Father Nature? You forgot about Father Nature. You only look at Mother Nature, but what about Grandpa Nature? Okay, and so because they're lopsided, they only see Mother Nature veering to one extreme or the other. None can recognize the nature of the thus come one treasury. Okay, stupid. Okay, like the people who are blind from birth, they cannot tell. Okay, so you explain to them, this is blue. They said, blue. It sounds the same as black to me. Okay? There's no way for them to distinguish. The Dharma treasury, the thus come one treasury is the wonders of life. They don't see that. They don't see it a little bit. That's it. Yes, in the back.
I just realized DTT has an awesome name.
Have what?
I think Master, you just mentioned Dharma treasure, and just what you explained about it sounds really nice. And I'm happy we have the temple named that.
Yeah, it has multiple meanings. Okay, yeah. And that's why Chinese is so interesting. And I wish I were Chinese. I'm not. In a way, I'm glad. That's a middle way. Okay? All right. And I'm running out of good names for temples. Now I've been scratching my head. What about the next one? So much pressure. Yeah. All right, next time we pick it off from 7:36. Thank you, everyone. Okay, Shanun. Yeah, we wear the same colors. Okay. Yours have dots.